Hi everyone, I am Schlager Lucas and welcome to my edition of Eurovision Song Contest Previews. In this series of episodes, I'm going to review all 40 songs of this year's Eurovision Song Contest in Turin, Italy. I'm going to share all of my opinions of these songs to you. But I'm not gonna do this all by myself. I invited fellow YouTuber Luke White, who joined me on this journey, and he's gonna share all of his opinions as well. We're also gonna rate each of every song from 0 to 5. Let's not waste any more time. This is Schlager Lucas' edition of Eurovision Song Contest Previews. And welcome back to Eurovision Song Contest Previews with me, Schlager Lucas, and this is episode 4. And today we're going to review the second half of the songs in semifinal 2. And as always, I have my honorable guest, Luke White, with me. How are you, buddy?
Oh, are you sure you've got the right guest? You just called me honourable. That's nice. Thanks, I'll take that. All good, thank you. Hope you're doing well yourself.
I feel fine. Are you ready for another episode?
The last one had me shook because this is by far the biggest bloodbath we have seen this year. So I think I'm ready. Are you ready?
I'm ready. I honestly think some better songs this year compared to last year. What do you think?
I think overall there are more, based on quantity, there are a lot more songs that I preferred in 2021. But based on quality, a lot of countries have upped their game this year.
I couldn't have said it better. That's absolutely, I agree with that. So, how about we kör igång, as we say here in Sweden?
Let's do it, kör igång!
That's the spirit. First country to review this episode happens to be Belgium. This year they are sending Jeremy McKees with the song Miss You. Let's listen to Belgium.
I'm gonna miss you now. Promise I will miss you now. I'm gonna break through now. I'll never hate you, never chase you. I'm gonna miss you now, now. Promise I will miss you now. I'm gonna break through now. I'll never hate you.
Jeremy McKees, Miss You for Belgium. I'm gonna let you start with this one, Luke. What did you think about it?
Oh, well, it is no secret. I absolutely love this song. And I think it's because it gives me like a nostalgic kind of vibe, because it really reminds me of the sort of song that Neo or Chris Brown would have released back in the day, like 2004. And I'm not being rude by saying it's dated, but it gives me that retro nostalgic feel. The vocal is incredible. I'm a little bit tired though of this formula of starting this kind of ballad, lead the audience into a false sense of security, and then bam, we switch up the song. To me, that is growing old. Last year we had the 80s sound, and this year we've got this kind of start off as a ballad, and then we'll trick you, and then we'll pull out this bop. Do you know what I mean? It is a good song. It's nice to see Belgium release something that's not so dark pop. There are elements of dark pops, and the undertone is quite dark, but overall on the surface level, it does give you bop banger vibes, and I am a fan.
I half agreeing with you, but you're definitely right about how it kind of starts with this ballad style, and then somewhere in the middle it kind of switched to this more bop style. I'm gonna say I was very intrigued with how it was opening. Like, it almost fitted into a James Bond kind of film, the opening, and I was intrigued. But then it came to the second half, and it kind of changed style from this kind of mystery or ballad style, but then it goes to this kind of hip-hop kind of music you would hear, and I was actually kind of lost somewhere. I don't know why, but it's like I was more preferring the first half, then we got the second half. He's still a great singer, but I actually grew kind of tired by it. The song kind of got old pretty fast for me, and it might be because of that change style. I would have preferred this much better if it kept the style that I actually opened with. What do you think?
Do you think it kind of turned a little bit too generic and a little bit too radio friendly? Like you said, you had the James Bond vibe, but then it kind of went Michael Jackson, but like a knockoff Michael Jackson.
Kinda, I wouldn't really call it radio friendly, but it's the style change that kind of lost me just a little bit. But it's a very nice song. I probably wouldn't listen to it on regular basis just for that chase. Had it stayed in that style as open, I would have liked it a little bit more better. So this one pretty much ends up in my okay category.
Oh, okay. Oh no. Well, I'll be the first to give it my score then, because I'm gonna have to give it a little bit more than okay. I love this song. I'm giving it a 4.
4 points.
Such a fan. I really like the Michael Jackson sound it has to it. Don't get me wrong, I am a fan of the structure. I like the false sense of security, the ballad and then the bam, because he can show off as an artist. I just feel like for the competition, there's too many of them and people are going to get bored.
Agree. And like you said earlier, the format has been done before. When it starts the one way, then it goes another way. When it comes to my music taste and the way this song progressive, this one is going to have to go with a very acceptable 2 points from me.
I like how you give it an adjective before. An acceptable 2 points.
Let's leave Belgium for now and let's move on to Czech Republic. This year they are sending a group, I believe, called We Are Dami with the song Lights Off. This is Czech Republic.
Where are you now when I miss you? Sailing around in my peripheral. Where are you now? Where are you now? Where are you now? Oh, where are you now?
We Are Dami with Lights Off for Czech Republic. Let me start off this by saying I actually enjoy this song. It's like it's living in this year, 2022. It really feels like that song. It's like we're in the now. And I can tell this is going to be played on the radio a lot. I just know it is so radio friendly. I like her voice. It's very soft. It's not a really hard in your face kind of voice, but it's very smooth. And somehow they actually made it work with this kind of techno song that I know modern teens are gonna love. I'm excited to see how they're gonna translate this into a live performance. Probably similar to what we just watched, but this is a real banger. I like this song. What do you think?
Oh, you've just read my mind completely. Ever since it was released, it was the second song released out of the whole bunch, and usually they grow old so quickly. But this has stayed so fresh. This ages like fine wine or a good mouldy cheese. It is so good. The energy, the enthusiasm, like what you just said about the live performance, they'll probably just do this, but they don't have to do a lot because the vibe, they've got this vibe and it's contagious and catchy, and the song is just, this is the sort of song I would play to my friends and say, Eurovision is cool, watch this. And then they'd be like, wow, I love it. I've already done that actually. As soon as this was released, I sent it to everybody and I said, watch this. And now they're fans and they're on board. They get the hype.
I totally get that. And probably when they start performing this in Eurovision, I'm pretty sure most of the audience are going to dance to it, and they're probably going to cut to most of the audience just jumping around and having the best time of their lives with this song. This one might be a big banger, and I really hope they're gonna do very great this year. And for that, they will get a very strong 4 points from me.
Oh, when you were building up, and I thought you were going to give it a big 5. You said a very strong 4. I was waiting for the 5, but don't you worry, I've got your back. I'm going to give it a big strong 5. This is my third out of the whole entry, out of the whole lot. I am addicted. I love it.
I actually like it too. It's kind of 5-worthy, but it's not really winning material for me, but it's definitely a top 10 material. That's why it got a 4 for me.
Yeah, nice.
Let's move on from Czech Republic and let's move to Estonia. This year they are sending Stefan with Hope. This is Estonia.
I said, hey, sing a heart out, boy, for all the people great and small.
Stefan with Hope for Estonia. What did you think, Luke?
Well, this one has been a bit tricky for me because I think this is a grower rather than a shower. It does take a few listens to really get in your head, and I can safely say now that I really enjoy it, but it does make me worry for when it comes to semi-final 2. And if people have heard this for the first time, is it going to grab them? Because it didn't grab me upon first listen. And I think that has to do with the way that he pronounces his words in the verses. He sings so low and he does the low notes very, very well, but he has this tendency to mumble the words. It does remind me of Marn's 2015 Heroes, but it just seems like with the country and western twangs it has in there, like an EDM as we get towards the end. But I just think he needs to bring some enthusiasm and some energy, because it's that, to me, will sell it, because the staging is great. I love the story, the narrative that they're painting on stage. If they can bring that to the final, maybe it's a dark horse. I don't know. What do you think?
I think I agree with pretty much everything you just said. I don't think it's gonna grasp people at the first hearing. You actually have to listen to it a couple of more times until you can finally get used to it. But even when you do it, I don't think it's strong enough to actually advance, because it doesn't give you the hype that Måns Zelmerlöw's Hero did. I might be afraid this could be a pretty weak entry compared to all the other songs in semifinal 2. I'm afraid Estonia are at risk at not advancing this year. I'm okay with the song. I kind of like it. It's just I don't feel like this is strong enough to go that much further. So how would you rate it, Luke?
I think it's hard, because I have to try and be objective, but I can only base it on my own taste at the moment. I am going to give it a solid 3, because it has grown on me, but I do understand that upon first listen it might get lost on a lot of people.
I'm going to give it a solid 2 points. It's okay, but it's not great.
Fair.
Let's move on from Estonia. Let's go to Ireland. This year they're sending Brookie with That's Rich. This is Ireland.
Hey, stupid, that's rich. When it's coming from you, and that's rich. Well, I got nothing to prove, that's rich. You think I dressed up for you, and that's rich. Bye, bye, boy. Bye, bye, boy. Bye, bye, boy.
That was Brooke with That's Rich from Ireland. And let me start off and say I'm a little bit torn by this. I mean, it's very modern, very radio friendly. I thought it was okay, but I feel like I have the same feeling about this song as I had with Estonia. And it's pretty much an okay category for me, but it doesn't hype me enough. It doesn't make me fascinated by it enough. I am not that, it doesn't excite me that much. I don't know, this is the same with Estonia, it just ends up in my okay categories. Nothing I would listen on my will, you know. I don't know. What would you say about this one?
I think you're pretty much echoing what I think. It's just there, isn't it? It's like Estonia. Like, yeah, it's a decent enough song, but does it make a massive impression? I don't know. The choruses are very, very strong, but then the verses can be seen as quite forgettable, and it takes a little while for that music to really kick in and get you going, oh, okay, yeah, this is good. It does take a little while to sink in, and will people wait for that? Will they just think, nah, not for me, then go and grab, I don't know, a beer? Do you know what I mean? It's a tough one, because it is definitely on your generic side, but there are elements in there that really do hype it up. So I'm on the fence. I'm going to have to go and score it already and give it a 3. Because again, it's a mid. It's pretty much right in the middle of the 3 category, because it's there. It's just there. It's a nice, pleasant song. There's nothing wrong with it, but there's nothing extremely great about it. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, it seems like your 3 is your generic category. I'm gonna give this just the same as I gave Estonia. I'm gonna have to give this another 2 points.
Fair.
Because, like you said, it takes some time before you finally get a grasp on it, especially when it comes to the chorus. The verses are pretty forgettable, and even when I get into it, I just this one doesn't get stuck on me that much. Let's move on from Ireland. Let's move on to Montenegro. This year they are sending Ladana with Breathe. This is Montenegro.
The battle for the life is bigger than you know. To act so selfishly is unforgivable. The air is what they need. The air is what they breathe. They'll die without it. It's unforgivable.
Ladana with Breathe, Montenegro. I'm gonna let you start with this one, Luke. What did you think?
Okay, well, there's something about this song that I cannot connect with. I feel like there's a lot crammed in this. The vocal arrangement and the musical arrangement, there's so many lyrics, and the music seems to try to keep up with the lyrics. It's like they've gone, quick, put this in there, and it just seems a bit much. It's a little bit lost on me. I'm a bit, I don't know, I just can't grasp it. I get the hook in there, da 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 da, but it just doesn't flow. I just don't think it flows, and this is not going to be a popular opinion because I know this song is loved far and wide, but it's just not for me. It's just not a song I can really let myself go to. Do you know what I mean? I can't enjoy it. It's okay, don't get me wrong. I understand that it's very highly produced. There's a lot in there. There's a lot going on. Just not to my musical taste, I'm afraid.
I actually kind of agree with you. The thing is, it actually started off pretty good when it was calm and slow, and then the more it progresses, the more music comes in with the ethnical style starting to come in with the violence in the background. I liked the fun at first. I'm not much of a lyric guy, but musically I was interested in the first half of it. But as it advanced, something got too much of it. It's like they were putting in a little bit too much instruments there. The music got a little bit overproduced, and then she started to sing a little bit too hard. And as you mentioned earlier, I felt like my ears were about to get attacked at some point. Then it's like it felt a little bit too much. They were at great point in the first half, but then it kind of went too much, and I honestly felt, as you said, disconnected. It disconnected me from it, and I couldn't relate to it anymore. So it started off great, and then it just kind of lost me.
You just expect a little bit something else from Montenegro. Like you expect something a little bit more raw, and this almost seemed a little bit too try hard, a bit too polished, didn't it?
Exactly. This one went a little bit too far in the second half. Had I kept it at the same level as the one in the first half, I would have appreciated a lot more. I gotta say, I actually find this one a little bit more interesting than the two last one I listened to. So you know what? This one gets an acceptable 3 points for me.
Nice. And this is why doing these videos with you are cool, because there are moments we have completely different opinions, and then it really kind of makes the score at the end go like, oh, I didn't expect that country to be so high, because I'm going to give it a 2. I like it a bit less than I can see the comments right now. Oh, I can't believe you like Ireland more than you like Montenegro, but it's just my taste. Sorry, that's what the competition's all about. Diversity in taste. It's a 2.
Great, that's how it should be. Let's move on from Montenegro to North Macedonia. This year they are sending Andrea with Circles. This is North Macedonia.
You don't wanna test my limits, but something tells me you're not listening. Probably you're going crazy. It's all you've been doing lately. You don't wanna test my limits. I gave you up, but you're not listening. Can you stop calling me baby? I made up my mind already. We're running.
Andrea with Circles, North Macedonia. I'm gonna start off and say I actually quite like this song, and I feel like this one is super underrated this year compared with the other song, because I feel like people don't understand that how good this song is. I feel like they need a more second listening to this one, because the more I listen to it, the actually more I appreciate it. I'm not a lyric guy, but I just know there's something important within whatever she's singing about, and I can actually kind of connect with it, even though I don't understand what it is. I like how the song is pretty modern. I like power ballads, and I can definitely, this is the kind of song I definitely would listen on Spotify or something like that, because I quite like it. I enjoy listening to it. What do you think?
Do you know what? I am a lyric guy, and I completely understand what you're saying. That this song does preach a good message because it comes from a different angle. She's singing from a different perspective, like running around in circles in a relationship. I completely understand what she's singing about, and she puts so much enthusiasm into that. Like, she's singing with a purpose, and you can tell even by watching the music video how much this song means to her. The way that she does her vocal runs, she did her flips and tricks, and she's proper going for it. She accompanied with that trap beat in the background. This makes this a more of a modern power ballad, and it really speaks volumes to a different generation. I completely agree that I think it's not getting enough praise. People are sleeping on it. But having said that, I completely understand, because I myself have been sleeping on it, because I understand it is a brilliant song. It's just not high up in my top 40. So I'm guilty of what you've just said. So I'm kind of not overrating it. I'm giving it a good description in this description, but in my top 40, it's not that high, if I'm being honest with you. It must be in the top 20, but it could be a lot higher.
Could be a lot higher. I definitely agree. It would definitely be on my top half of my top list. And you're absolutely right. I don't think people give this enough credit as it deserves. I like it. I can kind of see why people would find it generic, but for those who does, I suggest you give it another listing because I actually quite enjoyed it. I am curious to see how she's gonna nail it when she starts performing live Eurovision, because she actually might do it with a lot of passion. That might win over people. And I'm gonna start off with my rating, and you know what? This one actually gets a very solid 4 points for me.
You're speaking my language. There we go. Matchy.
I thought you were gonna give it like a 2 or a 3 or something, not a 4. Based on how you described it.
This is what I mean. Like, I completely understand that I've been underrating it within my top, but I appreciate what a decent song it is. Just because there are other songs in the competition, that I stand and I absolutely love. Not to say this isn't a good one, it's just not as high in my top. Being objective, it's a great little number.
It really is. I'm curious to see how she's gonna nail it when it comes live. But now let's move on from North Macedonia, as it actually is. Let's move on to Poland. This year they're saying "Och man." I hope that's the right pronunciation. And this year they are singing "River." This is Poland.
Float away, bury all of my things, bury me in my skin, all that I've done, oh Lord, I'm done. Who would want to be king, pulling too many strings, all that I've done, oh Lord, I'm done. Carry me away, float away.
Achman with "River" for Poland. Look, what are your thoughts on this?
Wow, do you know what? This song, the more I listen to it, the more I fall in love with it. But this is also one of those songs that I hear something different every time I hear it, which is great because it speaks volumes of the diversity in this track. It's so varied. There's so many different things going on. Personally, I think this is a classic sound that will not age at all. I think you could play this next year, in 3 years' time, in 10 years' time, and it will still have the same effect on the audience as it has today upon its release. I think it's a song that gets you as soon as you play it, because those opening lyrics are a little bit bedazzling, if I'm being honest. I'm going to take my body down to the river. At first, you're like, is this a dead body? Or do you mean yourself? Like, do you know what I mean? And his vocal tone is so kind of rich and deep that it draws you in from like instantly. And it does not take long for that chorus to really drop and pull you in like 100%. So you've got that intrigue at the beginning and then bam, you're in. And then those high notes to then fade away. You're kind of like, what's going on next? What's the next? Literally, you're on the edge of your seat the entire time. For a ballad to do that to you, I think it's incredible. And it just draws me back to Arcade and the effect that it had on the audience. Sorry, I really waffled on then. You go.
Absolutely agreed. This one really pulls in immediately as a start. It doesn't take long before you are immediately invested. Like, musically, it's fascinating, and he has such a banger voice. Like, he's an amazing singer. Like I said, he's doing those Duncan high notes, and yes, I wouldn't be surprised if this song was actually inspired from Arcade, because they really have the kind of same vibes. I really like this song. This one is really speaking volumes. He's singing with such passion. I can honestly see this song end up in a top 10, maybe even top 5. Might struggle a bit. Could be a potential winner. I'm not sure. Probably not. It might struggle a little bit, but definitely a top 10 material kind of song. I absolutely like this. And the more I listen to it, the more I am loving it. He's going to do great in Eurovision. I just have that feeling.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think his main competition, looking at all the other songs, there are a lot of male-driven ballads this year. And I think his main competition comes from Azerbaijan and Australia.
Agreed. He's almost in that kind of level, and I think all of them are going to do very fine. I am convinced he is one of the 10 songs that will advance from this semi-final to the grand final. And for that, this one absolutely gets a very strong 5 points from me.
Yes, same. 5 over here as well. Love it. What a great song.
Agreed. Let's leave Poland for a bit and let's continue to Romania. This year they are sending WRS or VRS, sending the song La Mame, Romania.
What if they're gonna find out? Nobody's gonna like it. We get away. Need you to stay. Hola mi baby, hola mi baby. Llámame, llámame. mi bebé, hola mi bebé, llámame, 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 llámame.
WRS or VRS with Yamame. And I'm gonna sort of say, I absolutely like this song. Already when it starts, I am musically interested. I love the Latino songs here because it's the thing. Latino songs are usually hard to win over me because most of the times, especially when they are in Melody Festival, and can sound super generic. Like I've heard a lot of generic Latino songs, but this one is a real banger. I love the music of it. It makes me want to dance with it, and I absolutely love the singer as well. He's so charismatic. I like his voice, and the all-around energy on the stage is just, it really gets you into it. You want to be part of it. You want to dance with it. I absolutely enjoy this entry. I absolutely like this song. What do you think, Luke?
I think you can't buy charisma, you can't buy personality. I think it's something you either have or you don't, and he definitely has it in bucketfuls, doesn't he? He owns the stage. He's got great camera work. He really brings that performance to life. And even coming from a lyrical perspective, there's not a lot there. Like, do you know, I can understand there's not a lot to grasp. It's not very deep. But some songs don't need to be deep. Everybody has a little bit of a tacky song that they love. And this is the kind of tacky song that I'm all about. I would have this on repeat. But what is nice as well is to see such diversity. Like, it's so different to what Romania had with Roxanne. Do you know what I mean? Like, completely different end of the spectrum, which is really nice to see. I think if with the right running order and the right kind of setting, I think it could do really well.
I agree, because I have this feeling that this is the kind of song that sounds much better when it's being performed live than it is by listening simply through the studio version, because I actually tried to listen through it. Somehow it didn't grasp me on the studio version, but I am totally into it when I'm looking at the live version. And considering, I hope they do the exact same formula as here with those dancers, the energy, and just the same mood. I hope they bring all of that to the Eurovision, because if they do that, and as you said, if they get the right running order, I think they can do pretty good in Eurovision. And I hope he will do pretty good in Eurovision, because I feel like this one it's a little bit underappreciated. I feel like it deserves a little bit more praise than it gets. And for my taste, I absolutely like the song.
I think you're right. I think you just pretty much echoed everything I've said, and it's nice that there is someone else out there that appreciates this as much as I do, because I feel like everybody else are like, it's tacky.
I don't find it tacky. As Latino songs go, I absolutely like this one, and this one is gonna get a very strong 4 points from me.
Yet again, you're speaking my language. You are speaking my language. It's a strong 4 for me. It's cusping on a 5, but I cannot put it at a 5 considering some of the other songs that I have at 5. So unfortunately, it just falls a little bit flat of a 5. 4 from me.
And 4 from me. Let's continue to the most unsuccessful country in this song contest. No, I'm just kidding. This is my home country, Sweden. And this year, we are sending Cornelia Jacobs with the song Hold Me Closer. This is Sweden.
Hold me closer, although you leave me for the sunrise. I'll be bleeding, but don't you mind? I'll be fine. Oh, excuse me, I found the right one at the wrong time. But until the sunrise, do you just hold me tight? I know I have to let go, but just give me the night.
Cornelia Jacobs, Hold Me Closer for Sweden. Luke, I'm gonna be very cruel and let you begin with this one. What did you think?
Awful. No, I'm joking. Don't come for me. That was a joke. As I said to you while we were watching that, I just feel like Sweden have done something really special this year, and every year we become accustomed to them sending something very polished, very like a bit too shiny and glistening. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit too much. But this year they've managed to combine shiny, polished, and new with genuine and authentic. And Cornelia really does bring that across with her vocal and with the lyrics, and you can see that it means everything to her when she's singing. And it's nice that they're sending something like that it is different, that it is going to appeal to a wide audience. It is a banger. It's a mid-tempo banger. It's not in your face. It's not typical Sweden. It has enough typical Sweden traits for the casual fan to go, yeah, Sweden, but it also has that authentic factor for the Euro fans to kind of appreciate. And I can see why it's a fan favourite. It's very nice. There are ups and downs. There's emotional factors in there. And I think, I don't want to say dark horse, because is a lot of people's favourites, but I think it's definitely going to finish top 5 this year.
I think so too. This is such a big fan favorite. I've been looking around. This one is very high on so many top lists. And I feel like Sweden might have a great potential to maybe win this year. It is not an impossibility for Sweden to win this year because, as you said, this is such a banger song. And I'm gonna admit something to you. The first time I heard this song, I could not get into her singing voice. There was something particularly odd with it. So it actually took me just a few more listening to finally get a grasp on it, because once I can get used to her voice, this song is just a huge, I would say, goosebump journey for me, because she sings with such a passion. You can tell that this song really has deep meaning, and the more it progresses, the more passionate she gets. You can definitely hear that in her voice. I absolutely loved it. Unlike last year, I am very happy with what we are sending this year. I absolutely love this song. This is the great choice for us.
I understand what you mean 100%. It did take a couple of listens for it to sink in for me as well. And I think that's because for a female, she has a real good rasp to her voice, kind of like, obviously it doesn't sound like this, but kind of like Bonnie Tyler. You know, she has this natural kind of raspy, throaty sound to her. So does Cornelia, but she also has this country and western twang to her as well. Like the way that her vocals go up at the end of her sentences or vocal breaks in there. She would sound epic singing a country song. So I think that blend of how she sings to this heartfelt, polished song, really, that's what brings the authentic factor about it. And that's what kind of makes you think, I'm not too sure to begin with. But then as the song progresses, you're like, I'm sold. Take my money.
Agreed. I like that this song isn't too overproduced, as said. It's definitely enough Sweden, but not too much Sweden. This is a real banger. I'm happy with it. I actually was a little bit hesitant, but you know what? The more I listen to it, I just cannot help myself. I just have to give it a very strong 5 points.
Hey! Is that a bit of hometown bias, I feel?
No, because if this was Tusse last year, I would not have given it 5 points. I have to be honest with myself.
Yeah, I'll let
because
you off.
when Sweden sends something I don't really like or wasn't hoping to win, I'm not that very fair to it. I'm just trying to be fair enough. I wouldn't give it top rating, but this year I am super happy with this one, and that is why Sweden gets highest rate from me. I like this one, actually.
Epic, love that. Well, you're not too far from what I'm going to score it. I'm giving it a big whopping 4, just because it is high up in my top 40, but it's not. It's just on the cusp of the top 10. It's not quite top 10. It's like around 10, 11. But the more I listen to it, the more it's climbing. So I think it is in danger of breaking in that top 10. And I think Georgia are going to fly out of there.
So that's it. That was all the countries in this episode, and that was all the countries from semi-final 2.
Time flies when you're having fun.
It does. And we're gonna look at the table here have been created, and it seems like the highest rated country from both of us seems to be Poland, with both 5 points from each of us.
Nice, love that.
The one that got on the bottom seems to be 3 countries with 5 points. Happen to be Estonia, Ireland, and Montenegro.
Ooh, I can kind of see that because all 3 of those countries are kind of on that. They're just there. They're okay. Do you know what I mean?
They're definitely the okay category. And look at that, my static, I can see that I gave 2 countries 5 points, which happen to be Poland and Sweden. And your highest rating countries seems to be Poland and the Czech Republic.
Oh, yes. All these bangers I keep forgetting about. This is going to be such a bloodbath in May.
Agreed. It definitely seems like semi-final 2 are the bloodiest of all of them. Definitely the strongest entries compared with semi-final 1.
I don't know who's going to survive, if I'm being honest with you. It's going to be, the fandom is going to be shook.
Definitely is. Well, you know, look, I absolutely enjoy this. I like having you with me rating this one, and I'm very happy that you joined me on this journey. We have only 1 episode left now with a big 5. But for now, thank you so much for joining me. Would you like to do an outro for this episode?
Of course, I just want to thank you for having me. It's been a whirlwind, but it's been so fun. And I want to thank all of the viewers sticking with this, because we're obviously, like you said, 4 episodes in now. So thank you for sticking with us for 4 episodes. The penultimate episode, as you will. I want you to let us know which semi-final is your bloodbath. Are you a quirky semi-final 1 fan? Or are you like us, and do you think semi-final 2 is the one to watch? Can't wait to hear your opinions, but Thank you so much for having me. We'll see you in the next one.
I hope you leave a like on this video, leave a very friendly comment down below, and how about you both subscribe to my channel and Luke's channel as well. We'll see ya in the 5th and last episode. Take care.